Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John Mania True Nerd, and welcome back to the Hitman Beta. Since the last time you have seen me playing this, I've actually been putting quite a few hours into this, kind of exploring the levels, going over them, because even though these are just like the little training demo levels, they've got that beautiful depth and lots of stuff hidden in them that all good Hitman games share. So I just kind of want to just put together a little kind of compilation of all the fun little alternate kills that exist, all the fun little kind of extra stuff that exists in all of the missions, and just kind of generally talk about why I'm actually feeling very, very, very good about this particular Hitman game, and how I think they've pretty much got it right. They've genuinely made Hitman Blood Money, but a lot prettier, and the few things that worked really well in Absolution, they've carried over. They've genuinely taken the best bits of every Hitman game. I'm so excited about this. Anyway, let's show some of this all off. Every good Hitman game has a basic story it tells you, and then a much more interesting story that you can uncover if you want to bother going around and listening to things and putting things together. So the basic story, the intro of this mission is, the guy that we're killing, the guy who you kind of saw me kill in the previous videos, is an art thief. And somebody wants him dead. And that's it, that's all we get given. Art thief, somebody wants him dead. But if we decide we want to kind of dig a little bit further, there's an awful lot more that we can learn about him. Now upstairs on the second deck, there's this lady here in the middle. That's Callista, that is the art thief's girlfriend. If you simply don't disturb anyone, then after, yeah, there he is, the art thief goes down to the bar and says that Mr. Norfolk will be arriving shortly. He makes his way upstairs with his bodyguard and hangs out here till Mr. Norfolk arrives and they have a conversation.
Cell phones. New one's broken too. I swear to God, Callista, I think technology hates me.
It's a sign, Calvin. You're the finest thief the world has ever seen, but things are changing. The next generation will be breaking into computers, not museums and bank vaults. This is the universe's way of telling you to quit, to get out of the game while you still can.
Funny how you and the universe always tend to agree.
Isn't it? Anyway, you told me this Norfolk job will be your last. And now I overhear the crew talking about Istanbul and Stockholm? What gives, Calvin?
I didn't lie, Callista. Look, you don't have to retire just because you leave the field. Most great players simply become managers.
You're recruiting.
Now you're catching on. The sparrow cannot die.
You're not a superhero, Calvin. They don't exist.
Well, not with that attitude, they don't.
So thanks to that, we now know that in fact, though he is indeed retiring, and this is going to be his last kind of theft that he's taking part in, he's actually looking to continue his legacy because he's known as the Sparrow, and he wants the Sparrow as a great thief to keep existing. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the level, we can learn more about that little subplot. The cops at the beginning of the level to your right actually give you a similar piece of information. So if we just go over to them to trigger that conversation.
It's Callista, the fiancée. She wants him to go legit, you know. Legit is expensive.
Shame. The man's an artist. You don't tell a painter to stop painting.
Well, the sparrow is a symbol. Just because Ritter hangs up his hat doesn't mean the sparrow does. From what I hear, he's on the lookout for a protege.
So a protege, and indeed if we just go slightly around the corner, because there is actually a back entrance, the game doesn't flag around this way, a third entrance to the rear of the boat via this kind of fake dock here. This is Trespassing, but no one will actually see. There's only one guard through that when they're always facing away from you. And then you'll see these two people at the back of the boat. Now if we just go up to them...
So, what are we actually doing here, Ashton?
Honestly, I'm not sure. Mr. Ritter just said he'd watch me at the Olympics. Apparently he's a gymnastics fan and wants to make me an offer.
An acrobat and an art dealer. Don't see the connection.
Yeah, me neither. But one of the other guests mentioned Ritter is looking for a commission. Anyway, we'll see soon enough.
So there we actually see exactly what Ritter's planning to do. He has invited an Olympic gymnast onto his boat and wants to speak to him about an offer. Obviously, Ritter is planning to retire, and that guy up there is, well, if Ritter gets his way, going to be the new Sparrow. He's going to recruit that gymnast to become an art thief. Very, very cool, and the game doesn't flag it. It's just there if you decide to just want to listen to all the conversations and piece it all together. Meanwhile, if you actually want to know what the actual art theft in question was that has presumably triggered this assassination to be ordered, or rather what did originally trigger the original assassination, the real one, to occur, you can actually figure that out too. All you need to do is not interrupt Ritter or Mr. Norfolk, because Mr. Norfolk will just kind of make his way. He'll be down in the bar. Where is he now? That might be him at the bar, actually. Beneath me, I'm not sure. Simply kind of let him have his drink. Don't interrupt him. He'll come up here in a second, just stay out of the way of Ritter to make sure that he kind of doesn't spot you, and eventually Mr. Norfolk and Mr. Ritter will indeed have their meeting up on the deck here. So there's the meeting now. Ritter meets up with Mr. Norfolk, and in a moment they will walk to the private room at the front of the boat, at the kind of the other end from where they are at the moment. But the thing is, if you are simply hiding outside the window, it is extremely easy to overhear their entire conversation. So all you need to do is just go into your kind of crouched position here, and you can actually, figure out everything. So they'll be coming in a second. Here we go.
Wow, so you got the blueprints. Most impressive.
People get what they pay for, Mr. Norfolk, and you paid for the best. Here, I'll pull the files for you. Not my usual scene technology. Most of my clients are art collectors. So what is it anyway? Some type of reactor?
Well, not just a reactor, Mr. Ritter. It's more of a revolution. 50 years ahead of its time, maybe even more, maybe 75 or 100. I don't mean to boast, but whoever makes it to market first with this reactor will become the king of the world.
Well, I'm rooting for you. Now what's that password? Always slips my mind.
Now at this point, basically the reason the characters loop is because the excuse is Ritter can't remember what his password is, so as a result of that, he kind of has to, he goes back to the deck, they try again, he repeatedly can't remember the password. But I guess the implication is that reactor might be much more sinister than just a mechanism for making energy, and as a result of that, yes, that's why someone ordered the hit, because the original assassin also presumably had to reclaim the blueprints. Because, yes, the reactor's potentially a little bit dangerous. Now, while he's doing that, this is a good chance to do some setup, by the way. Because if we just kind of run this way while those two are just kind of bumbling around in there, you can actually head over here. And this glass that's on the table, that is Ritter's glass. So if you want to get rat poison inside his glass, that is the time to do it right then. However, there's one other thing that kind of pops up that this creates a very good opportunity to do, which is if you now run up to the top deck, then while after the original meeting has taken place, and after Ritter's done the initial conversation with his girlfriend, which takes place kind of over there by the edge, thereafter he comes and has a drink next to his girlfriend on this table, and that's the time when you can use the life raft. So basically, you're going to use the life raft to kill him after the initial conversation that he has with this chappie. So I'm probably about to get spotted, but never mind. We'll just kind of quickly, yeah, he's going to see this, but never mind. Bye. Actually, I think I got away with that. And the nice thing is, by the way, this level has multiple exits, which I missed last time. So there's the car at the front, but if you want to, you can also steal the helicopter, or actually, just straight up take his boat. There's a boat down on the dock there. So unfortunately there has been a terrible accident that's killed Ritter. His girlfriend Callista looks so incredibly not bothered by the fact that he's dead at all. So that's a shame, isn't it? Anyway, speaking of killing him, so let's talk about weapons. Like we kind of mentioned previously, weapons are now much improved, which means you can obviously pick up big old weapons, but if you try and put them away, they actually have to go on your back, and you're only allowed to carry one of them. Because obviously, yeah, you can only carry one big old weapon on your back. But yes, weapons, you no longer have magic pockets. The absolution ridiculous magic pockets are gone, which is magnificently good news. Let's just quickly get away from those comps there. But the advantage is, at least on the lower difficulties, because by the way, in this beta, there are no difficulties, and you also don't get properly scored. So kind of, yeah, we don't kind of see the full detail yet. I'm guessing, like, as it was in Blood Money, in the kind of the higher difficulties, particularly the highest difficulty, you need to be using the correct, you'll need to be using the correct weapon for the correct guard. But for the moment, as I'm a police officer in front of police officers, and they are not the ones who get suspicious of me, I can just walk wherever the hell I feel like it. And isn't that just lovely indeed? Because another important thing about Hitman that Absolution kind of forgot was, there's nothing wrong with, if you want to, just straight up getting a shotgun, shooting your target and walking out if you're willing to complete the mission in a ridiculously uncivilized, low-scoring way. So there's a helicopter here that's one of the exit points, and our target kind of wanders around here on this. There's absolutely nothing to stop you just walking up to the upper deck with a massive shotgun while dressed as a police officer. And in a moment, if we just wait for him to be in the right position, you're a security guard. No, watch out for the bodyguard, because the bodyguard will recognise you. We'll just wait for him to go back over to the edge of the deck here. Yep, there we are. Oh no, he's dead. Walk away and end the mission. That's it. Just walk in with a shotgun. Yeah, you can fire as much as I want. I've just got in the helicopter, the fake wooden helicopter. I'm gone. Mission complete. Walk up to the top deck, blast him once in the face, job done. That's it. That's all you need to do. That's beautiful. And like, you know, that was what... And you could do that back in, say, A New Life in Blood Money. And I love that that's an option. But there's something even better than that. So in the training mission, just go and pick yourself up the little kind of the automatic weapon and pop it on your back. The interesting thing that what they've done in terms of the behavior is just to make sure that, like, even if you're going the long way round, you don't kind of miss any of the prompts. You can still enjoy the level in its fullness. As a result, all of the main characters basically stay perfectly still at the beginning of the level until you actually get on the boat. So, for example, you've got Mr. Norfolk over there, and at the back of the boat there, you've got our guy who's just sitting in a seat, and he'll never ever move. Simply step on the boat and just keep an eye on him and wait for him to start moving. Because in a moment, as soon as you're basically on the boat, just give him a second now, he stands up and makes his move. Now immediately walk straight back off the boat again. You can also see the other thing that the game does at that point is it takes one of the senior naval officers and he moves him down to the bottom of the ramp so crew can't just walk straight off. Head back over towards your car and the exit point now. And now we're literally standing next to the starting point of the level. And exit the level. There we are. And that there is the mission complete. You can stand where you enter the level. Just once you've triggered him to start moving, head back to the exit point. You can literally just, yeah, from the starting point of the mission, you can just nail him from the ground and then immediately hop in your car and go. The game is that open and free. It's beautiful. So let's now move on into the final test, because there's a bunch of ridiculously cool stuff in here I didn't really get to kind of properly show off last time. So the first thing I want to kind of show off is something that's a really cool little mechanic. So you may recall from the days of Absolution, they introduced the fake surrender. So if guards were actually kind of pointing guns at you, what you could do would be fake surrender. But that wasn't actually a surrender in any capacity. All that actually was you basically just pretend to surrender, and then as they approach you, you just grab them and you punch them out. It was basically a bit of a get out of jail free card. What there actually is now, and this is fantastic, is there's a proper arrest option. Because obviously if the guard sees you like with a gun, they'll return fire because you're clearly armed and dangerous. If you're discovered wearing the wrong disguise, then they'll basically try and kind of, you know, they'll come at you with guns up because they're incredibly worried, and you can do the fake surrender. A new mechanic is the arrest. So if you are just caught in an area you're not supposed to be in, but you're not actually doing anything wrong and you're not visibly armed, then the guards will simply arrest you. Because of course they would. Why would they start shooting someone who they just kind of found? Well, I guess sometimes they would. I'm just going to walk out here in front of this here guard. I'm just here.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, young man, you can't be here. What the hell? Hey, look at me. Just do as I say. Let's go.
And I'm now being arrested. And all that means is I now have to follow this guy. And as long as I follow this guy, I'm in the process of being arrested. So that guy, even though he would spot me, he no longer spots me. And he's now going to escort me back off the base. But the thing is, because obviously when you're being arrested and escorted, you have to be arrested and escorted through an area the guard can walk through, not via a window or anything. As a result of that, you can actually find yourself in a rather odd situation where the guards can accidentally take you deeper into the level. So this guy here has just walked me right up to the flipping plane. So yeah, potentially you can actually use the arrest as an interesting mechanic, because at any point I could just walk up to him and just subdue him from behind. So if he just walks me through a quiet corridor, I could subdue him. He just walked straight through a door. I could subdue him later, but for the moment, yeah, basically I can use him to get myself deeper into the level, because he actually walked me all the way around to the jet because I hopped the fence, but he couldn't hop the fence back again. And then he, in a moment, is just going to walk me straight off the base. And yeah, that's such a wonderful thing. How has that never existed before? It's beautiful. And now he is past the gate, and I am free.
Alright, you're free to go.
Alright, you're very welcome. Thanks for escorting me off the base. You can also use that as a mechanic, by the way, to displace soldiers. Because he's now going to take, like, you know, a few minutes to get back to his original position. So now, theoretically, if I were to run back exactly the way I just came, then just kind of get down here and go around here. And you remember the last time, the way we got to him last time was we hopped that fence and he was at his post over there. If we just kind of very quickly go back to exactly where we were, because he's got to run the long way round again, we could actually beat him back to where he originally was. So now we've got back to the original position that guy was in, but he's not back in that position yet, which in this case is not that useful, but could theoretically be useful as an interesting mechanic to play with, deliberately getting yourself arrested, making them go the stupid long way round, because he's still, yeah, there he is. He hasn't even made it around the corner of the hangar yet, so this window's now unguarded, though I think this window was completely unguarded anyway. So yes, that's a really, really fun, interesting mechanic. And there's another really cool, interesting thing it does as well, actually. I also want to have a quick talk about doing suit-only stuff these days, because it's actually much more interesting than it used to be. Because you probably might have seen there for just a second, if I just kind of quickly hop over this fence and thus enter an area where I'm technically trespassing. If you trespass in an area, basically all that means is literally everyone gains that little dot over their head, which means if they see you, you'll go into the little kind of white pointy warning arrow thingy, whatever it's called. I'm not sure the game ever actually gives it a name. So basically that means that even when you're sneaking around out of suit, you've got a second before they actually see you, which actually makes suit only a lot more kind of practical than it used to be. It always used to just be kind of basically a case of just kind of pretty much the only way you did suit only in like Blood Money, which you just kind of abused coins and you just had to learn enemy routines perfectly. But in this game it's much more feasible. It's still really difficult, but it's kind of much more interesting to my mind. It's just kind of round here and here. And by the way, on the ground down here, you've got a load more coins. So if you want to do way more kind of coin throwing, you can get up to 6 coins to throw on that spot right here. So in this particular occasion, like because you're moving silently, but you still move quite fast, just wait for that guy to turn his back. And then all we can do is we can just kind of hop through the gate up here. Through here. And yeah, I'm just doing this suit only now. I haven't bothered getting into disguise, and I'm not going to. I'm going to show something really hilariously funny about kind of doing this mission. So we just kind of head around the back here and hide around the back of these here boxes, since no one comes around the back of these here boxes. Just kind of hide here for a second. Once you've made your way over here, once that guy's kind of wandered away, and he shouldn't really be able to see you that effectively, just keep your eye on what's going on up top in that room. So that's the ambassador in his office and one guard by the window, which means this is the particular moment you probably don't want to be going up because there's a guard by that there window. Just sneak around the outside, keep your distance, you should be absolutely fine. So that guy doesn't see me, that guy doesn't see me, that guy there doesn't see me. Simply wait for the ambassador and the guard to start moving away, and you'll be absolutely fine. But yeah, you're pretty safe around here along the very outskirts of the level, even though your little bald head is clearly actually quite well lit up. Now, it looks to me like the spy's starting to move away, which means this here is the right time to start making a move. Here we go, 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 up here. Alright, and now just nice and quick, nice and quiet. We should be able to get into this building nice and quickly. So, actually, it looks like the... yeah, we just got to climb through the window in a second. We've got to pick our moment. This is the moment. Alright, in we go, in we go, in we go, in we go, in we go. Lovely. So now what we've got is we have a chance to basically, we've got into the actual commander's office without anyone actually ever seeing me. Perfect timing. And now what I'm going to do quickly, is because this works surprisingly well, is I'm going to take the advantage to lure him into the bathroom. Come on. So I've just pacified that guard, and now I can simply go up behind our friend here, garrote him, and move him into the bathroom. So that there is our guy taken care of. Let's just move him into the bathroom out of the way. And we'll just dump him in here. And now all I need to do is also a kind of a very secondary kind of important thing here, which is I need to put the gun down. And now that I've killed the target, all I'm going to do is... Actually, is that the... That's the commander, isn't it? Or the... No, it's not. Okay, good. What I'm going to do now is I'm literally going to walk out and just go, hello. Morning, Steve. And he has arrested me. Because he doesn't know that the commander is dead, he's now going to walk me straight off base. This is actually, I love this. This is so good. Obviously, he wouldn't do this if the commander's body had been found or anything. If the commander's body had been found, then obviously they'd be on high alert hunting and they'd kind of start shooting me on sight. But because they don't know anything's wrong, they just think I'm a random person who kind of somehow managed to get in here, he walks me off base, and I can just push the button and complete the mission, having been actually escorted out from the commander's office by their own guards because they didn't know the commander was dead because I hid the body. That's insanely fun.
Congratulations.
So let's have a look at the other fun ways you can assassinate our target here. So there are the notes, the KGB High Command notes that I picked up last time. So a note of demands from Jasper Knight. He wants his girlfriend to accompany him to the Soviet Union and refuses to leave Cuba until the request is granted. So we've got a bit of a dilemma going on here between Knight and the KGB. And we can very easily use that to our advantage. First things first, we're going to have to therefore become a member of the KGB. That's pretty simple to do. The best way to get the KGB officer is he is the only one who routinely uses this bathroom in the commander's quarters. So all we need to do is just kind of wait for him to show up here. And in a moment... I think we're actually right at the right point of his cycle too, which is perfect. In a moment, he will kind of walk into this bathroom, and that will be the perfect time to get him. Lovely. So, that's him garroted, nice and quick. And nobody cares about him, because technically he's all on his own. Because he's KGB and all the rest of these guys are Cuban soldiers. So, get his thing nice and quickly. We can also put the gun down now, because obviously he's not supposed to have this gun. Keep that in mind. So, we'll just pop that down here. And you'll also notice, if we kind of look around, that all of a sudden, nobody can recognize me because I'm from the KGB and no one else is, which means that nobody knows what I look like, including mysteriously Knight, despite the fact that Knight has, you know, repeatedly met the KGB guy in the past. But nobody, including Knight, can actually recognize me, which is very, very cool indeed, so I'm now free to wander wherever I want. So speak to Knight now.
Knight, follow me. Lubyanka's on the line. My superior wants to speak to you personally.
About time.
So, thanks to that, we can now lead him over to the radio room, where he will be nice and isolated. Again, we can just take the most direct route, because absolutely nobody can recognize me, because apparently nobody notices that I used to have hair, but I must have nipped into the bathroom and shaved it off or something. This is a kind of constant thing. I like to think it's a little in-joke in the Hitman franchise, that nobody notices that people mysteriously go bald. Nobody notices whatsoever. So, we'll just lead him in here. Jasper Knight has fallen. Jasper Knight, where are you? Hurry the hell up. So we just kind of put him in here, close the door,
I know that model.
and now we've got him on his own. We can very easily... Oh, I punched him in the face. I was trying to garrote him. Maybe I should just snap his neck. There we are, neck snapped. So next, let's talk about the projector. So I've just got myself a soldier's uniform, go through here, and pick up the projector slides, which obviously you've also seen me grab previously. So once you've got those, you can have a quick chat to the Russian colonel. And if we can just get the right angle, excuse me.
Sir, the slides you requested.
Thank you, soldier. Put them in the office, on the overhead projector.
So he'll just remind you where to put them. They can go on the overhead projector. Now the slides are there, the colonel goes to fetch Knight. And those two now head together to have a little look-see at the slide. So now let's just get ahead of them quickly, because there is a nice power box outside that we can also do something with too. So head out here, get the power box.
Good grief. You people don't piss about, do you?
It's not the Concorde, but it'll do the trick.
And my Sharon?
Special extraction. We launch her into space, then parachute her down from the stratosphere with a lifeboat and a pair of snowshoes. Little luck, she'll reach Murmansk in a couple of months, unless she runs into bears.
What?
We'll put her on a plane. Jesus, Knight, you're supposed to be smart. Anyway, that is if Janus agrees to your terms, and that's a big if.
He will see things my way. Now, give me a moment. I need to learn this plan by heart.
So you can see that there's also some extra bonus dialogue about his girlfriend, which is pretty funny. But if we also turn off the projector as soon as the colonel's actually walked away from the situation.
Oh. Huh. Must be loose wiring.
So he says, oh dear, loose wiring. Let's let him get his fingers nice and stuck inside this. And...
Who are you, man?
and he gets himself electrocuted and we can walk away. I very briefly went into suspicion there because they saw me tinkering with the box thing because the colonel was in the wrong situation. But as you can see there, Knight is now dead, unfortunately, as a result of being electrocuted by the projector, and we can just walk straight on out again, and no one's particularly suspicious because it's all a tragic accident. Now this time I've gone up to the roof to kind of discuss all the things that we can do up there. There's a couple of things. I'm going to show the kind of the most simple one off first, then we'll get into the kind of the more fun, interesting one. So obviously I think I kind of stumbled upon this last time. I didn't really actually use it for anything. You can see there that obviously there is a little kind of hole, a skylight into the roof. I guess this is supposed to be like glass in the original building, but just like glass, it can indeed be shot through. So obviously you could snipe the guy through the roof, but be aware there is very often a guard in the room with him at the same time, so you probably need to remove that guard first, and then if that guy goes hostile, these guards will kind of go and look around and be confused. Generally it's probably not a great idea, but if you do want to like a quick, dirty, easy way of killing him, you can just shoot him through the roof. But there is a much more fun way of doing it, and indeed accidents are much more back in the new Hitman than they kind of were in Absolution. There's maybe not quite as many accidents as there were in Hitman Blood Money, but we'll need to see about that. So let's for example say that this guy over here is about to, there he is, he'll probably kind of head back to the hangar in a second. All of these lights in here, every single one of them can be shot and fall. So they don't fall straight down, they fall at a bit of a wobbly angle. So you kind of need to kind of just know how they're going to fall. So for example, that one will fall and land pretty much straight at the door. Okay, here comes Knight towards the door now. Wait for him to get pretty close to the door because these things are quite fast. And there we go. Oh, yes. That is a light headache achievement for just whacking him on the head with that. And by the way, that was, of course, an accident kill. The game fully acknowledges that accidents are things. And as a result of that, we can just walk straight out of here. Everyone's just like, oh, that was a shame. One of the bloody lights fell on him. No one's going to be at all suspicious of that, just like no one was suspicious at all of the accident with the projector, because it's clearly an accident. So the game responds to it being an accident, that no one goes into high alert, and you can just walk straight out of here. But I've saved the best for last, ladies and gentlemen. I am, of course, not going to show the vodka poisoning again. You saw that in the last video. But yes, just head in via the back way, as before. In fact, I pretty much always, for pretty much any entrance, I will always use this particular approach, because this particular approach gets you a nice, safe, easy in, and a soldier's uniform at no risk of ever being discovered straight away, which is just kind of by far the easiest way to begin the mission. Especially as, like, you can garrote this guy, and then there's a box. Like, literally, that's it, he's dumped straight away. He's, like, on the ground for a second or two, and then you're straight into the disguise, because now putting things in boxes and getting the disguise is so much faster than it used to be. It's absolutely great. So with that done, you can just kind of hop inside here. You actually don't really even need the soldier's uniform, to be honest. That's kind of just for safety. And then just head through into this. Make sure you pick up the wrench. You'll be needing that in just a second. And then head through to the Vestario. And round here, you have got yourself one hangar mechanic. Now, this is what we want. Now, here's another interesting thing worth noting, by the way. You may recall last time we did this, there were two blokes kind of running backwards and forwards through this area. Because I haven't interrupted them or had their conversation at the front, they're not going to come to me, at least not for the moment. So instead, we can examine the safety protocols. Yep, safety protocols.
Jasper Knight certainly knows how to make an exit. But first, he needs to test the jet's safety equipment, including the ejector seat.
Oh my goodness, the ejector seat, you say? I wonder if we could just very quickly sabotage that. This is easier to do if you haven't if you deliberately don't get the conversation from those two guys, so they hang around to the front of the building longer. Alright, now that there is one ejector seat that had been disabled, re-enabled. Beautiful. Let's just make sure that we're not going to run into any more mechanics in a second. It does not look like it. And where's our man? He's up in the office. Fine. I love the new system, by the way, the new Instinct. Instinct in Absolution was dreadful, but they've just made it work so beautifully well. It's magnificent. Let's just, yeah. Okay, yeah, there you go. You see, there's the two mechanics out front, but like because they haven't had the conversation yet, as a result, they can't come in, and as a result, that means I've actually got a much easier chance because there's less mechanics floating around. In fact, there's now only one person in the entire base that can recognise me, the one mechanic who's down there, so I just need to not disturb him, basically. Anyway, let's go and quickly just kind of pop into here. and we can have a nice chat with Knight about how he needs to go through the safety protocol in order to leave with the jet.
Jasper Knight, we gotta go over the safety protocol. Follow me, please.
Oh, must we really?
Yes, yes we must. Please come down to the plane. It's entirely 100% safe. And you can see there that those two mechanics are still just stuck out the front of the building, because until their conversation starts telling you about the ejector seat, they're not actually allowed to leave that position. So the safest thing you can do is actually just to basically, completely ignore them, work around them to make sure they just sit there forever. Now, let's just head back over to the clipboard, wait for Jasper Knight to catch up with me. Yep, initiate safety procedures.
Okay, Mr. Knight. Climb in the cockpit, please.
And up he goes. So yes, this man in a Mach 3 jet is going to be flying back to the Soviet Union, or so he thinks. But we just need to run him through the safety protocols just in case something were to go wrong. But put on the safety straps, please.
Step 1. Strap yourself in.
So of course, as far as the mechanics and he's concerned, obviously everything's been disabled. He's just learning how to use the jet just in case. And locate the ejection handle, please.
Step 2. Locate the ejector seat handle.
Yes, found it.
Now, could you please pull the ejection handle, Mr. Knight?
Step 3. Pull the ejector seat handle.
Right. Here it goes. Pull.
And off he goes into space. I should remind you that this is all being done with actors. So he just did a fantastic job pretending to be blasted through the roof off into space. Yes, I'm sure he'll be fine. That was just like pretend gravity. And of course, no one's suspicious of me because I wasn't the one working on the jet. The guy the other side of the jet was working on the jet. And that means we can just go straight out here and end the mission. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty much everything I think that there is to see inside the Hitman Beta. Those are kind of all the cool, interesting little ways to do things. There are loads of like little extra ones, like, you know, using poison in more interesting places, finding the right areas that you could snipe from, you know, seeing if you can kind of nail sniper shots from outside the building, even though none of these missions actually have a sniper rifle in, so you'd have to use like the pistol. But yeah, there's probably some interesting more stuff you can play with them. But this feels like, if you remember what the first mission in Absolution was like infiltrating Diana's mansion, how linear it was. Oh, this is so much better than that. It's insanely better than that. Like, both of these missions, I would say, are better than literally every mission in Hitman Absolution. And these are just the training missions they've put out for the demo. These missions are as good as the missions in Blood Money. These are better than some of the missions in Blood Money. Like, I would say both these missions are probably better than Death on the Mississippi, which I've never been fond of as a level. It's probably the weakest level in Absolution. Death on the Mississippi is not a great level. And next to, like, Death of a Showman, the training mission in flipping Blood Money, these are magnificently better. So much better. Like, I hope this has demonstrated to you how much flexibility there is, how accidents and creative executions and the new disguise system and the new arrest system is hilariously good fun. How many mechanics there are and how it's just great. It's just brilliant. I am so excited for Hitman. Come March 11th, I'm going to be all over this and every subsequent episode too. The only way they can mess this up now, because the core mechanics are so damn solid, is if the level design in the episodes is utterly dreadful. But given what we've seen in the demo, where they've had 2 levels that are open, interesting, and full of interesting stuff, it feels like whoever's designing the levels for this game knows what they're doing. So, genuinely, like, if I had to put money on Hitman, the main game, being good at this point, I would. Like, it's looking so damn good, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed this little showcase of all the kills and mechanics and fun little stuff I've had squeezed out of this little demo. But, oh, it's gonna be good, ladies and gentlemen. Hitman, as soon as it launches, I will be all over that. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, I've been John. This has been Many a True Nerd, and this has been the really rather exciting Hitman. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Killed a dolphin? Who in the name of God kills a dolphin? That man's part of the Renaissance Wig Social Club. Steal his stuff immediately. Out of the way of the ice cream truck of justice. Wait for this car to go over them and... Yes! Blimey heck! Oh, that's a train!